This is your Senior Moment, brought to you by Senior Guide USA, with your host, Lee St. John.
Well, hi, this is Lee St. John, and I am thrilled today with our guest, John DiBlasio. Now, John is with Cornerstone Fitness Clinic, and they specialize in fitness for seniors. So, John, welcome today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So now you're a physical therapist and you
Correct.
have a particular passion for helping seniors. So tell me, first of all, where did you get that original passion? Where did that come from?
Well, when I first got out of physical therapy school, I went to work in a geriatric setting. And in school, of course, we're exposed to a lot of different populations, whether it be pediatrics, geriatrics, sports physical therapy. And I just really thought that from a functional perspective, these were the folks that needed the most help, and they responded well. And it is our demographic, it is an aging population, and I thought this is the way I could do the most good for the most people. And they're great to work with, and it's extremely rewarding to work with that population.
I love it. Well, our topic today is you're never too old to focus on fitness. So let's discuss some of the types of things that seniors can do just every day, first of all, without necessarily looking at a fitness center. Just some of the things that they can do every day to really focus on their fitness.
Well, one of the things, and people don't usually think about this as fitness, but one of the things that seniors can do to help themselves the most, I've seen in 15 years of practice, is posture. Watching their posture and giving themselves postural reminders all throughout the day. Because a lot of the things that we see in the office, whether they be shoulder problems, back problems, hip problems, really got their start with some really poor posture. And as you know, as we get a little bit older, shoulders tend to come forward. We tend to slouch a little bit, given the gravity a little bit.
Hey, even as you're mentioning this, I'm sitting up straighter in my seat.
Right, exactly. And that's where a lot of the aches and pains come from that we see in people. So, again, people usually don't think of that as fitness. They think that, running or jogging or golfing or something is fitness. And that's certainly true. But one of the things they can do is just sitting up straight in the chair and pulling their shoulder blades back and tucking their chin in a couple times in a row, and then going about their business, and then an hour later doing it again, and an hour later doing it again. That's one of the biggest things that people can do every day. That doesn't mean going to a gym. It doesn't mean doing a special activity, but you're just kind of reminding yourself throughout the day to maintain good posture. That's probably the biggest thing that I think makes the biggest difference in an elder population.
And I remember my great-grandmother always, we'd be doing something or other, shoulders back.
Yeah. And our grandmothers were right. I mean, they seemed like little soldiers telling us to sit up straight, but they were right, and it really makes a big difference.
So tell us then, moving forward to your fitness center, give us give the listeners a description when they walk in the door. Is it like, oh my goodness, this is like a gymnasium and I don't know what to do first? And what happens when someone comes to a practice like yours and walks in the door?
Okay. Well, you're just talking about basically the intimidation factor.
Pretty much.
A lot of people, especially the geriatric population, the older population, if you walk into one of these huge fitness centers at 30,000 square feet and it has, a million different pieces of equipment and people are doing all these things, it's very intimidating. So our facility is actually very small on purpose. It's a very small, intimate facility. I call it a fitness clinic because it's really kind of almost has a studio feel to it.
Nice.
And what people do is they come in and they talk to us about what they want to do, and then they fill out a pretty extensive medical history for us. And based on that medical history and what I see, I create a program for each person. And then the most important thing is trainers are always here to supervise and help.
Yes.
So the intimidation factor is completely taken away. People come in and they don't know what button to push on a machine, or they don't know what to do next, or they don't know how to get started. That's all taken away because the facility is small. We can keep an eye on everybody at the same time. And the most important thing, if you're looking for a place to exercise, make sure the supervision is there, make sure the help is there as needed. So you can keep on asking the same question over and over again. You never have to feel silly. And make sure that you're supervised and you're getting the proper instruction that you need.
And I think with that supervision as well, don't feel as though, I don't really need supervision. Even the most talented, trained athletes always have some sort of a supervisor there or a trainer there just to make sure that they're doing the exercises correctly.
Yes, because with this kind of thing, as my mother used to say, the devil's in the details.
Yes.
You know, you can do an exercise that looks very similar to another exercise, and they can be doing completely different things, and one can be doing good and one can be doing harm.
Yes.
So those details are important, and especially as we get older, they become more important. So yes, supervision and qualified supervision is important.
And John, an example of somebody who's come into your clinic with some challenges and the progress that you've seen with them because they've really focused on their fitness.
Probably one of the best examples is we see, for therapy, we see a lot of people that have had joint replacements, say a hip replacement or a knee replacement. And because a lot of times therapy is insurance reimbursed, there has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yes.
So somebody will come in as a physical therapy graduate, I would say, maybe from my facility or somebody else's, and they say, yeah, I'm doing much better, but I still have a little bit of a hitch in my giddy up, so to speak. I can't quite move the way I used to. I'm walking, I'm functioning fine, but I can't quite move the way I used to, or play with my grandchildren the way I used to, or get on the golf course the way I used to. And that's where the fitness kind of takes over. And so what we do is we put somebody on a very targeted, foundational, therapeutic exercise program to make sure they get back that last 10%. And one person that I'm thinking of as an example, they came in, they hadn't played golf in years, and even though they recovered from their hip replacement, well, after 3 months with us, they were back on the golf course. Not because they got more therapy, but because they did a fitness program with us that really targeted their deficits, and they were able to get back on that golf course.
Wonderful. All right, so to wrap up, John, if there's somebody listening who's thinking about going to their local fitness center that may not specialize in the senior population, what would be your piece of advice to help them really make that decision and commit to going to the fitness center?
3 things. One, look at basically the supervision to customer ratio. In other words, if there's 1,000 people in there working out and only one person at the front desk talking on the phone, chances are you're not going to get the supervision that you're going to need. So if you go into a place, make sure it's manageable and make sure that there is enough supervision for the people that are going to be on the floor, that it's not an overwhelming situation in terms of people being able to help. Number 2, ask if a person or the trainers or the staff have any kind of special certifications. Usually you'll want to see some kind of personal training certification where the person has had to take some test or has had to do some study to earn the certification. ACE certifications, ACE is one. Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, for example, is another one. And the third, make sure the people are friendly. And that might sound kind of silly, but if the people want to interact with you, then you're going to get the help you need. But if they're just kind of sitting at the front desk, folding towels, talking to their friends on their cell phone, you're not going to get what you need out of that person. You have to be able to approach that person and that person be able to spend some time with you. So attitude is number 1. Certifications are number 1, and make sure the place isn't so big that you can't get to somebody if you need help.
And I think the friendly thing as well, if they're friendly, you want to go back.
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if they're friendly, you know that they're going to want to help you.
Yes.
Because, frankly, there are some gyms that, they're interested in a younger population, very high-performance population, and that might not be what you need. So make sure that they're willing to be friendly to you and spend time for you, just like if you were shopping for anything else. What's the staff going to be like?
Love it. And, John, so where do people find you? What's the website?
The website is Prospect Rehabilitation, with the word rehabilitation being fully spelled out, .com.
And the telephone number if people want to give you a call?
Area code 802-362-1151.
And now I understand you're up north in green country. So where in the States are you located?
We are in Vermont, in southwestern Vermont, in the beautiful town of Manchester.
Oh, how pretty. And that's Cornerstone Fitness Clinic. And so again, just the website is?
Prospect Rehabilitation, all one word, .com.
Fantastic. Thank you, John, so much for joining with us today. And I would suggest anybody who's even thinking about getting fit, getting active, and exploring a fitness center, listen to this interview again, follow up on some of John's tips, and take action. Seriously, you won't regret it. Thanks again, John. Have a wonderful day. This is Lee St. John with Senior Guide USA's Your Senior Moment. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.